Hello, I'm Julia Hankins, and in this video I will be sharing with you the contents of the very exciting Well-Being Adventurers Toolkit. So here is the toolkit, and it comes in a really nice tote bag with a little logo on, and as you can see it's quite hefty. There's quite a lot in there, and so yeah, I've made the decision to do a little video about each aspect of the toolkit, so that you can see what it is that you get if you attend one of my trainings and get your hands on one of these. So let's dive in. There are, inside the toolkit, there are some pose cards, which are A4 double-sided coloured laminated pose cards. There are pose banks, which are, I also call them pose banks, or I sometimes call them partner cards. There are breathing cards, there are regulation cards, and there will soon be relaxation and creativity cards added into there as well, but they are not quite ready yet. But I thought I'd do the video anyway without them. So here we go. I'm going to dive in and show you first the pose cards. So the pose cards, they are stored in little zippy wallets like this. And for the A4 postcards, there's actually two sets that look pretty identical. And the only difference in them is that one set have names on them. And these are the names that I've created. And so they're all nature-based names. They're either animals or nature things like volcano or cloud or things like that. And so here we've got an example. Here is rhinoceros. But what I understand is that some people don't really want to use those names and would like to use either specific names that they already use, like, so for example, this one, you could call this chair pose, because a lot of people do call this chair pose, but I really like things to be all the same type, and I don't like it when you have like an animal name mixed with like a shape name, like triangle, for example. So for Well-Being Adventurers, I wanted all of the cards, all of the poses to have animal names or nature-based names. But I appreciate that not everybody wants to do that. And so there is a duplicate set, which is these ones, which are unnamed. And so they're the same cards, but they don't have the names written on them. And so they look like this, very similar. In fact, if I can just find the rhino one to compare. So here is what it would look like with the name on, rhinoceros, and here is the same pose but without the name on. These are the nameless cards, and so for these you can write on in water resistant pen. I was going to do that actually, dry white pen. You can just write it on and rub it off, or you could type and laminate, or even just write on pieces of paper and stick them on. That's fine because they're laminated. So there's that white line there for you to add in a name. And so this works really great for renaming poses too. So for example, the children, you may already use and know that it as rhinoceros, but you might be doing a theme class and wanting to be the children to be coming up with names from the poses themselves. And so you use these ones and some dry white pens, and they can write on them themselves. And so, yeah, basically the two sets of pose cards, of which there are 52, you have them with names on, and you have them without names on. And so you will have noticed that the colour on the cards, they come in different colours. And so you may be wondering, oh, upside down, you may be wondering, what is this colour about? And so the colour represents the benefits of the pose. And so red represents strength. And so these poses help us to become more stronger. And the thing that I always tell children is, you don't have to be strong to do the pose, but doing the pose will help you to be strong. And we have yellow or gold, which are flexibility poses. And so you don't have to be flexible to do the pose, but these poses generally help us to be flexible. And then we have balance poses. So again, you don't have to have excellent balance to do the pose, but the pose will help you to become more balanced. That's the green ones. And then relaxation poses. So you don't have to be relaxed to do the pose, but doing the pose will help you to become more relaxed in your body and in your mind. And so there's 4 different colors that I use and in all of my lessons to support with children understanding the benefits. Now, obviously, there are multiple benefits for each pose, and I would talk about that when I'm teaching. I would say, yes, this is a balance pose, but what else can you feel in your body? So you might be feeling strong in your core. You might be feeling that, yes, this is a balance pose, but actually I'm feeling quite flexible in this pose too. And so really the colors are not meant to like really limit your discussion of a pose, more to enhance the children's understanding of the main benefits of the poses, which is to help us be strong, help us be balanced, help us be flexible, help us be relaxed. And having those colors there helps you to zone in and be like, oh yeah, okay, what is it we're talking about here? And another thing that you will find about the card, so there's the name or not name, there's the image of the child, and what I would hope that you would notice from the images is that I try to be as representative as a real range of pupils, children that you may see. And so in the images that I have a range of body shapes, I have a range of skin colouring, I have a range of different styles of clothing. I have a range of different needs. So some children, for example, might be using blocks, and we might talk about how blocks can be there to support us when we need it. There are different, all of the children are different. And so some of the children in the images have physical limitations. So there's a child in a wheelchair, there's a child with a prosthetic leg, there's a child with glasses, a child with hearing aids, and there's lots of different cultural differences amongst the images too. And the reason for that is so that all children will hopefully see themselves within the images, but also the children will see different variations of other children and other ways of being, and that normalizes it and means that, you know, helps us to understand that movement is for everyone, and it's a really inclusive thing. And it was important to me as the children that I teach a real range of children. I live in a city and there's a real multicultural mix, and quite often children don't feel that they are represented. And so really the illustrations that my gorgeous illustrator Sophie Ray has created are really around including a range of diversity, a diverse range of the human form. And so that's the illustration. So we've got the name or not, and we've got the illustration, we've got the little logo here, Well-Being Adventurers. And so the reason why the business is called Well-Being Adventurers, and not something to do with yoga, is that not everybody resonates with yoga. And actually, the word yoga isn't used anywhere on any of the cards or in the manual, or on anything, in fact. And that is because not everybody fully understands what yoga is. And also, when I use the word yoga, I've noticed that can really limit the number of children that can be included sometimes. And so some of my lessons are called yoga lessons. Some of my classes are called yoga classes, but also some of them are called well-being lessons. And that's because some people are not allowed to join in a yoga class. And so, and also the way that I deliver my classes ensures that everybody can join in. And so that's why you won't see the word yoga. You'll see well-being adventurers, and all of the benefits and things like that. So moving on to the back of the postcards, there's again the colour to remind you what your benefit is. There is a little code at the top here, with so this one has 4 little circles with little feet in, so that I know that this is from set 4. And so that helps me with my organisation of cards. If I picked up a whole big bunch and used them from different sets and to teach a particular class, maybe a theme class or something like that, and I'm sorting them out when I get home, then I can just turn them over and sort them on using the back of the card to help me, because there's a little code there that says it's from set 4. So other things that are on the back of the card are lots of things to help you be able to use the card in your class. So there's variations to try, there's movement that you can do within the pose, there's a breathing idea to use with that pose, there's ways of turning it into a group pose or a partner pose, or partner movement. There's a little thing called rest, which might give you a clue of something to of a way to rest. On some of the cards it might say play, so it gives you like a little thing to think about. There's something to talk about, so that's more of like a kind of mindfulness element to it. There's something to think or say to yourself, which is a bit more of a kind of affirmation. And then there's a little safety instruction on some of them, so that you can be sure that you're practicing safely with the children in your classes. And so that's what each pose card looks like. It's double-sided, and it is the same on the nameless cards. The only difference is the fact that it doesn't have a name, it does have a code. And so the code there helps you to be able to identify it when you're doing your planning, or to look at in the manual. There's some information about the benefits in the manual. And so, yeah, there's a little code there and to help you. But on the back, there's all the same sort of stuff. It just doesn't use the name. So those are the postcards, named and unnamed, and they are divided, so there's 52 in total, and they are shared across 4 different sets. So, and these are a varying ability. So we have the blue set, that's my set 1. I tend to use that as my first set that I use with any groups. So if I'm teaching in a school, it will be like the first time I teach them, I'll make sure that they know these poses, because we build on those poses to get us to set 2. And so there are 12 poses in set 1, there are 12 poses in set 2, there are 12 poses in set 3, but in set 4, there are actually 16 poses. And the reason why there are 16 in set 4 is because I use these ones further up the school. So these might be used in year 5 and 6 in primary, if the year 5 and 6 have already worked with me to learn the other ones. But I can also use these in secondary school, and they're more challenging poses. And so there's 16 of them to give like more depth and just more. But of course, when you teach set 1 and then you move on to set 2, the children that you're teaching set 2 to already know set 1. So those children have 24 poses that they can use, because they know set 1 and set 2. And then when you teach set 3, those children know 36 poses. And then when you teach set 4, they have 52 poses. And so that's the organisation of the pose cards. You get 52 double-sided named ones, and you also get 52 double-sided unnamed ones. And the unnamed ones are used a lot if I'm doing a particular themed class, or if I'm doing I might use it in an extracurricular class, or I might use it if I'm just doing some creativity, and so it's really, really useful to have the unnamed ones as well as the named ones and use them parallel. So it gives children greater freedom and it gives you greater freedom and flexibility to how you can use these cards. So that's the pose cards. And next I'm going to be talking about the pose banks. So there are 6 pose banks that are included in the Well-Being Adventurers Toolkit, and they are printed on double-sided. They're printed double-sided, so there's 3 different cards, but 6 different pose banks in total. And so in the set that you actually get 16 of each. And so you might be thinking, why do I get 16? That's a lot. It is a lot of the same thing, because you've got, here's set 1 and 2, for example. You have set 1 on one side. So these are all of the poses from set 1 that you've just seen in the pose banks. These are all of the poses in set 1 put on one card without the names, and you know it's set 1 because it's got the symbol here to tell you set 1. And then on the other side you also have set 2. So these are all of the poses in set 2, all 12 of them, all on one bank, and you can see there's the symbol there, and you have 16 of these. Here they are, 16, all the same. Pose bank set 1 and pose bank set 2, 16 of them. And that's so that you can have a group of 16 children and they can each have their own, or so you can have a bigger size number. You could have a class of 30, for example, with children sharing one between 2, which is perfectly acceptable because they're quite big, they're A4, so they'll be able to see them and work together in partners. And again, they're laminated, so you can do things like put stickers on them, you know, like post-it notes, stickers if you wanted to, or you can use whiteboard pens to write numbers on, and things like that. And I use these in pretty much every lesson, actually, once I've taught all of the set. So I tend to do my pose banks first. Once I've taught all of the poses within that set, we will use these, and so the children can see very easily all the poses that they know, and this helps them to support, it helps to support them because they're like, oh yeah, I remember that. And it helps to structure your class. It helps to structure your planning too, because you can quickly reference back to it. But it also helps you to give the children some more freedom, because it's like a structure for them to build upon. So you can use these for all the different lovely creative activities that we do within Wellbeing Adventurers lessons, which you will learn on the training. And so this is pose bank set 1 and 2. There is also pose bank set 3 and 4, so exactly the same. You get 16 of them, so that you can use them. And this is set 3, all 12 of the poses from set 3, and then on the back all 16 of the poses of set 4. And so again, you can use them one between 2 or one each, or you can do group work and you can mix them up. There's lots of different creative ways that you can use these in your classes. They're very versatile. They're very versatile, all of these resources, and just I basically have created as I've needed. And so what you receive with the toolkit is what I've, over my time working with children, what has worked for me, all compiled. And so another thing that I've done is put together an alphabet. And so this is a mixture of poses from set 1 to 4, but these are letters of the alphabet. And so this is great for themed classes. This is great for group work. This is great for after school clubs, community workshops, all of those things. And there are so many games that you can play with an alphabet card. But I'm not going to go into that now, but here is the alphabet card. Again, you get 16 of these. So you can use them. Every child can have one each in a small group, or one between 2 in a larger group. And on the back is a mixture of poses that are ideal for if you have a limited space. So I'm very lucky, and many of my classes I deliver in halls. However, sometimes when I turn up, I only get a classroom or I have to go outside. And so I tend to carry this set with me all the time, just in case. And that's because it's got on it a whole selection of poses that are easy to use in either limited space or if you haven't got mats and the floor is not clean. So, for example, outside, or it's not appropriate to be on the floor, or so this is my kind of small space pose bank, which is printed on the back of the alphabet poses, and so you get that included. So 6 different pose banks for you to use in 3 lovely zippy wallets, all in the Well-Being Adventurers Toolkit. And so that's the pose banks. Now I'm going to share with you the breathing cards. So the breathing cards are stored in a zippy wallet because you've got to love a zippy wallet. And there are 18 breathing cards, and the breathing cards are divided into 3 different colours which match benefits. So we've got this lovely turquoise colour, which is focus. So these breathing techniques will help you to encourage the children to focus, or help the children to focus for themselves. And so these are the lovely focus cards. And then we've got the orange ones, which are confidence cards. So these lovely breathing cards help the children to be confident. And then we've got calm. And so these purple ones help children to be calm. And so the poses, the breathing techniques themselves might not be calm, but the benefit of doing them will make them feel calm. And so the colour represents the benefit. Purple is calm, orange is confident, blue is focused. There's the logo on the bottom, and then on the back tells you the benefit, but there's also information to support you in your use of it. So even if you haven't had time to plan a lesson, you could just grab some cards and take them with you and have a quick read of the prompts, and that would really support you to deliver a great lesson. I'm not suggesting that that's the only thing you should do, but if you wanted to, that would be something you could do. And so it tells you how to do it, gives you some instructions on how to do it. It gives you a visualization prompt, something that you could encourage the children to visualize while they're doing it. It gives you an idea of how you could combine it, so a pose that you might want to combine it with. And it tells you the benefits of the breathing technique too. And so these are I use these in all of my classes. I use breathing techniques in every single class that I run, but these are particularly useful when I'm teaching small groups of children for a specific need. So I might be working with a group of children who need some help with regulating their emotions, or I might be working with a group of children who struggle with their attention, or I might be working with a group of children with low self-esteem who need to build their confidence. And so these are particularly useful for those, but they're also fun things to include in every class that I deliver, and the children really love the images that are on them and really love playing the kind of breathing technique games. So those are my breathing cards. Next, I'm going to be showing you the regulation cards. So regulation cards, again, are in a zippy wallet, and there are 12 of them. And the regulation cards are all the same colour, because the goal is to support the children to be regulated. And so these are movements, basically. Movements sometimes combined with the breathing, and the goal is to help the children to regulate. And so here's an example one. You've got the colour, which is, it's regulation. It's quite a dark blue. You've got the name of the regulation. You've got the image and the logo on the front, and then you've got the information here to tell you that it's regulation. And then on the back, it also tells you how to do it, some variations that you might like to try, a visualization that you could do with it, the benefits of it, and also things to notice. So it's getting the children to balance their nervous system, and also to become aware somatically what's happening in their bodies. And so these regulation cards are Ones that I do use them in all of my classes. They're really fun activities to try and use with the children. But again, I use these a lot with smaller groups as well, particularly if children need help with self-regulation. These are really useful tools to use with those particular children. And so there will also be in the kit my relaxation cards and creativity cards, which will be printed back to back, and they will have on them some different relaxation techniques to use in your classes, and the creativity cards will be like the activities that we do to make things more playful within the class, and they are being created as we speak, which is very exciting. At the moment I don't use those cards, but I cannot wait to use them. I use all the techniques that are on them, but I haven't yet had them printed onto a card, so I'm very excited to add those to the toolkit, and they will be ready in time for the first training. So if you found all of these resources beautiful and gorgeous and want to get your hands on them, you can sign up for one of my trainings, and you will receive the Well-Being Adventurers Toolkit as part of it. So the training, the Wellbeing Journey, basically gives you all of this and teaches you how to use everything that's in it and how to make it suited to your style. So I hope you found this video really interesting to see all of the resources, and if you have any questions, please get in touch.